So, not so real quick. This one here is about Dwyane Murray. I want to say in September. Actually, it was more like August or September, maybe early August. I learned of the Dwyane Murray incident. And it caught my attention because the allegations occurred in April of 2024, if I'm not mistaken. And what really caught my attention was the evidence, which was alleged on his cell phone by way of text message to this young girl. So what I did was I contacted Westchester County Jail, found out who was representing Mr. Murray, and then I proceeded to attempt to contact his lawyer. So, as far as I know, his attorney is Samara Simpson, and never spoke with her. I did send her an email, and was it the Westchester County Public Defender's Office, something to that effect? Called up there, spoke with the Spanish gentleman. For some reason, I believe he said Mrs. Simpson's secretary wasn't available, but he was going to transfer me to the secretary who sits directly next to her secretary, which didn't make any sense. I recorded all of this. It is on my YouTube channel. And what their primary concern is whether or not I know Mr. Murray, which I feel is not relevant. I haven't listened to this audio in a while, but my recollection of this conversation with that woman was very bizarre. So my whole point in this is that the burden of proof is on the state. I don't know Mr. Murray, and I don't know if he did this or not. You know, what I'm getting at here is that based on what goes on my cell phone, things such as text messages being rerouted to Kazakhstan. What else? 911 being blocked on my cell phone for over a year. What else do we have? In regards to me getting employment, I call the Department of Corrections in New York City. The phone call gets rerouted to another investigator who has nothing to do with me. When you call, or I should say, when I call for the manager of internal affairs for Department of Corrections, phone call is blocked. When I call my investigator for the New York City Department of Corrections, phone call is blocked. I've had instances where I've tried to call someone, hit the dial button. What happens? It doesn't go to, like, it doesn't even ring. It's like it's trying to initiate that process, and then the call just terminates. There may be a few other things that have occurred just on my cell phone. Other weird occurrences in regards to me trying to contact Greenwich Police, Officer Shaw. Specifically, I sent them an email after a day that we had contact, and the email was literally blocked. Not unreceived, not undelivered, but it was literally blocked. And what our contact was about was me calling the police that day because children were sent to me, and before they were sent to me, I was at a house delivering for Amazon, and these children were sent to me, but before they were sent out, there was a man in the backyard who said, that guy who just pulled in, he likes touching people's kids. 15 seconds later, 3 little kids run out and surround my van. At that point, I had already had a body camera because I could just tell what was going on. I stayed in the van until they cleared out, got out, delivered the package. Then one of the kids came back out. I left, called Greenwich Police. Actually, I didn't call Greenwich Police. I called 911. Asked for assistance. I waited for over 45 minutes. I called 911 numerous times from the same exact location. On 2 of those phone calls, while sitting in the same exact location, instead of going to the local, I guess you would say, dispatch, it went to Stanford, which doesn't make any sense. So what I'm saying is, with all the anomalies on my cell phone, it's obviously manipulated. Someone's doing this shit. I don't know who it is. And my whole thing is, Dwyane Murray should not be sitting in jail until he's convicted of these crimes. And beyond that, just for the prosecution to say that, well, here's a text message from his cell phone to her cell phone, I'm saying that's not enough. Because with all the shit that's happening on my cell phone, it just seems wild. Wild. All kinds of things happening on my cell phone and in my emails. All these weird occurrences that no one can explain. So, in my situation, at this point, I've reported it to the FBI on numerous occasions. And with the occurrences that were happening on my cell phone, when I did it online, I questioned whether or not they actually received these transmissions. So most recently, I went to the FBI in Newark and spoke with an FBI agent in person. He assured me he was typing it into the system himself. And let's say, for instance, he types it into the system himself and then somehow it gets taken out. That is a matter of national security. If the FBI can't report to themselves, that is a matter of national security. So the whole point of this video, that I feel Dwyane Murray already has a right to an appeal. Just based on the fact that his lawyer, she's not doing her fucking job. Beyond that, I've had a run-in with Mount Vernon Police where my former manager, who works in the city of Mount Vernon, tried to purchase a kilogram of cocaine from me on numerous occasions. Turns out this guy's an informant. So, mind you, everything I've spoken about is recorded and documented on my YouTube. So I contacted Mount Vernon Police, recorded the phone call, told them that my manager on more than one occasion tried to purchase a kilogram of cocaine from me. And what did Mount Vernon Police tell me to do? Come on down to the station, buddy, make a report about it. Cool. 2 days later, I go down to Mount Vernon Police Station to make a report about it. I get there, and the police that are there are like, so? He tried to buy a kilogram of cocaine from you? Big deal. That's hearsay. That's not a crime. Before I got to Mount Vernon Police Station, I figured it would be helpful for the police if I stopped by their job, by his job, and got a picture of his plate. So I went there, took a picture of his plate, and went directly to Mount Vernon Police Station. Now, when I told them where he worked, Mount Vernon Police told me, the 2 officers I was speaking with, mind you, this is all recorded, that they had just got a phone call from that exact company that I was on their property taking pictures of a female. There was no female outside, 1. 2, every inch of that property is under surveillance. Why? Because they have at least $500,000 worth of coffee machines in that warehouse. So why they would tell a lie like that, I don't know. While I was there, I showed a picture of Mount Vernon Police I showed them the picture of what I took. I showed them the picture of the license plate I took a picture of, and also showed them that I took a picture of nothing else by, rolling back through the phone. And they caught me off guard with that, so it's not like I expected that. The woman who allegedly said this, whose name I believe is Taylor Contello, don't really know. I know that there's a number of white women there that pretend to all be the same person. They all answer to that name. Mount Vernon Police acknowledged that they had heard way worse than that in the city of Mount Vernon. Let's see what else happened that day. They had an officer on scene at Fabco Coffee for over an hour to take a report on a guy who was just taking a picture of, first it was her, then he was taking pictures of vehicles, as in more than one. Then it turned to he was on property taking pictures. All of this shit is recorded. They changed their story 3 times in the matter of an hour and a half. And also, I did a little investigating. The officer that responded to that call was Italian. So, on Mount Vernon's website, you can find the demographics of their police force. So, on the Caucasian side of it, I believe it's about 25%. Also, I forgot to mention that the owners of the company are Italian. Greg and Taylor, or whichever one of the Taylors, they're all Italian. Paulie DiGiacomo is also Italian. And what I'm saying is the likelihood that an Italian officer was able to respond to that call based on 25% of their police force being Caucasian. What, are all 25% Italian? No. Because, there's Irish, there's Polish, there's German, there's Russian. All those would fall under the Caucasian umbrella. What I'm getting at here is that there's a very serious corruption problem in the city of Mount Vernon. Beyond that, there was, when I went back there to get the police report, because this was all bullshit, I'm at the window at the court clerk, and there's a Spanish woman there telling another one of the employees that I like touching people's kids. Can you imagine that? I like touching people's kids? In reality, Spanish people in Westchester County, Fairfield County, Rockland County like to go around, not so much anymore, but at that point, go around and tell people that I like touching people's kids, and then have their kids come next to me and try to be all close to me, jump in booths with me at the Home Depot. Like, this is the outrageous shit that goes on in Westchester County and Fairfield County and Rockland County. And to be fair, it is not only Spanish people. Irish people have done this too. Black people, not so much. People from the Caribbean have this thing where they also like to tell people this shit. And the most interesting part of all of this, I don't know any of these people. Like, at all. I don't know any of them. They certainly don't know me. It's like they just go around and make shit up. So what I'm saying here is that it needs to be proven that he actually sent that message, or that shit just shouldn't be admissible, essentially. I don't know. I also feel like he shouldn't be in jail until he's convicted. Also, there were some other things that were very bizarre. He's a basketball coach in Mount Vernon. He's a black man from Westchester County. Actually black, as in, his ancestors were enslaved in this country, as were mine. I know this individual by the name of Steve Barnes. I call him OG Steve. A few months back, he threatened myself and my family. Oddly enough, he also works for my uncle. Also have that shit on recording, also on YouTube. So once I found out about Dwyane Murray, I directly asked Steve Barnes about him. I'm like, yo, do you know Dwyane Murray? He goes, no, never heard of him. You're lying, Steve Barnes. You're a fucking liar. Also asked my uncle, Anthony Labrosiano. He told me the same thing. You're a fucking liar too. How do I know this? First of all, my uncle's like obsessed with basketball, and his son played in little leagues, not in Mount Vernon, but it's kind of like there's no chance in hell that Steve doesn't know him. It's extremely unlikely that my uncle doesn't know him. I kind of just feel like it's just all bullshit. What else do I want to add into this? The timing of all this, it wasn't just Dwyane Murray. In April of 2024, a lot of shit happened where in Wisconsin, two little Spanish kids ran up to my truck for Amazon and tried to jump on my truck. I had to stop them from getting on the truck. I reported it to Wisconsin police. I called CPS in Wisconsin. All this shit also happened in Greenwich. Again, I called CPS. I've called CPS from Rockland County as well. And the most recent time that I called CPS, I brought this up to them. You know what this chick did? She fucking laughed. She thinks it's hilarious. Mind you, she's a CPS employee. And she thinks it's hilarious that people follow me around, tell people I like touching people's kids, and then people send their kids to me and then tell them to say that I touched them in a sexual manner. Meanwhile, I reported to police. I reported to CPS. CPS suggested I call the FBI. I did that too. So what I'm getting at, they have been trying to set me up for this shit for so long. It's outrageous. And it's not just this touching people's kids thing. There was this thing where my dentist at, Gentle Dentistry, Dr. Alidadi's office. Apparently, I harassed her dental hygienist. Not true. Taylor Contello, whilst I was trying to make a human resources complaint about Paulie DiGiacomo, who said some racist shit and then immediately started trying to fire me. It went from she handles human resources complaints to do you want to continue this discussion? And then the next step of it was my uncle telling me that I'm going to jail for harassing her. It's like none of this shit makes any sense. I was recently banned from Uber for sexually assaulting someone that doesn't exist. I have a dash camera in my car. I asked them to provide, the ride so I could submit the dash camera footage. Never happened. Let's see. Is there another instance of this? Alicia Strange in Wisconsin. Had drinks with her at the bar. We went to another bar. The next morning, a few days later, all of a sudden I raped her. Apparently. Allegedly. In fact, it wasn't even allegedly. I went to Oshkosh police to make a report about something non-related. And she called Oshkosh police while I was there. And the person that took the phone call, I believe, is the same dispatcher that also failed to report something else that came from myself, which is in a police report and an internal affairs report. Months later, when I got back to New York, I contacted the records department at Oshkosh, and they told me they had no record of a report made by Alicia Strange that said that she was raped or there was an attempted rape. No record at all. So that's... In regards to shit involving myself, one of the reports was made by me, and the whole reason I called Oshkosh police was to have them documented. The only documentation of this phone call is this cell phone right here. There is essentially a hard file where you can see I called Oshkosh police dispatch at a certain time on a particular day. Other than that, according to Michael Hodder from Internal Affairs at Oshkosh Police, there's no other record of that. I think her name is Marlene McQueen from the records department at Oshkosh. I have an email from her saying that there is no record of Alicia Strange making such a report. However, I'm sure if you go to Oshkosh and ask around, Alicia Strange said that I raped her. So there's been this ongoing thing since 2023 where people have been trying to make me out to be some sort of sexual deviant. And the reason why I mentioned OG Steve Barnes, because I know he knows this guy, Dwyane Murray, and he lied to me about it. I'm guessing it could potentially be because he knows what people say about me. Oh, I like touching people's fucking kids. Not true. And Steve Barnes' daughter is married to Kenneth Chamberlain Jr.'s son, whose name is Craigo. I believe Craigo Chamberlain, not really sure. Kenneth Chamberlain Jr. runs Rolling 20s Blood. And they also, en masse, decided to go around and tell people I like fucking touching people's kids. So I don't know Dwyane Murray. I don't know if he has a problem with Kenneth Chamberlain Jr. or vice versa. I don't know if there's a connection there. My whole point here is that this shit didn't just occur in Wisconsin with myself. There was another case in Wisconsin also in April 2024. There's the allegation from April 2024 with Dwyane Murray. And the other thing that struck me as weird about this was that an arrest wasn't made to the following year. So it's like, what is actually going on here? In every instance, that was the case. What was the guy's name from Wisconsin? I called his lawyer. There was another one from Greenwich Police that made an arrest. His lawyer was Mark Sherman. I called him as well. And in all of these instances where I actually called people's attorneys, there was telephonic transmissions on their cell phones. And I'm saying everything, all these cases, they all happened around the same time in April 2024 where the allegations were made. And based on what's happened on this exact cell phone and what is continuing to happen, like I just texted 911 the other day to one of my underlings by the name of Patrick. Take the explosive to the Empire State Building, set the charges, we're pulling the building tonight. Shouldn't the FBI have come fucking pick me up, knocked on my door? Shouldn't they be following me around right now? Like, what is actually going on here? Something's not right here. Something is very, very wrong here. I don't know. So that man deserves an appeal, regardless. Like, unless they have video evidence of this man doing something, he deserves an appeal and he should not be in jail right now. I basically said my piece. This is probably the longest YouTube video I've ever done in my life. There may be a follow-up to this. And that's basically that. Good luck, Dwyane Murray. You're not the only person's lawyer I've contacted. You deserve an appeal. Dude from Wisconsin deserves an appeal. The guy that Mark Sherman in Greenwich is representing deserves an appeal. Why? Because their lawyers are ignoring this shit. And what I have on my YouTube is so much goddamn proof that people can do whatever they want with this cell phone. When I say people that are not myself. They can send messages to people. They can stop me from sending messages to people. They can reroute phone calls. They can stop me from calling 911. They can stop me from contacting emergency services. You got people in the 911 chat log, which I'm going to slowly post onto YouTube. On some of the messages, I received contact from police departments, but outside of that chat. And all of these messages come back as undelivered. So what I'm trying to actually figure out here is, if the message was undelivered, why are the police contacting me? It's almost as if they're not, and someone's impersonating the police. So it could be the FBI. In my case, it could also be the DEA. And for me, none of this shit makes sense. Because in 2023, I stopped selling drugs. So again, I don't know Dwyane Murray. Don't know what he's been up to, what he's done before. All I'm saying is, none of this shit makes sense in my case, and it needs to be looked at and verified that what's on the transmissions that came from his cell phone, it just needs to be confirmed that he actually did it himself. And beyond that, there's this thing where Bounty Hunter Bloods have this drug smuggling operation with the FedEx facility in Elmsford. And, if you if you try to contact someone from FedEx, such as a human resources manager for that facility, and tell them you want to report drug smuggling occurring at that facility, what do? They don't respond to you. When you go to the Greenberg police and report it, what do? They ignore it. When you report it to Westchester County Narcotics, what do? They ignore it. When you report it to the New York State Gang Narcotics Unit, what do? They ignore it. So what I'm getting at here is that there's a lot of cover-up shit going on in Westchester County, to the point where it's almost like, are all these police agencies getting paid from this drug smuggling operation? Is the Westchester County District Attorney getting paid from this drug smuggling operation, where drugs are purchased in California, shipped through that facility in Elmsford, and then when they land, these drugs get sent all over the country? It's like, this shit is, it's fucking outrageous. You report it to the FBI, what do? They ignore it. What I can say here is Donald Trump is in office, and if he finds out about this shit, you are all the fuck fired. Please believe that. Please believe that. Every one of you will be fired.